Hi, my guest today is Jerry Fish. He's renowned as much for his showmanship as he is for his music. He's a carnival creator, circus ringmaster, singer, songwriter, and poet.
You guys are sick. You're twisted. You're out of your minds, but so am I.
Hi, Jerry.
Hello, Beth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. As you can see, I've turned into like a revolutionary guru or something.
I'm loving the look. It's brilliant.
I'm kind of. I've no choice about it. I've just left everything alone and see what happens.
And tell me, whereabouts are you at the moment?
I have a little kind of wooden shack that's a studio, so I'm over there at the moment. I'm very lucky. I live on a mountaintop in rural Ireland, in the middle of nowhere, Mount Leinster, and I've got a little caravan that I restored, a 1970s caravan which I restored last year for festivals, and that's been a little hangout, you know. So it's nice to be able to get out of the house, and so we're not so confined. And I've 4 children here, and myself and the missus. So we're doing good. We're doing.
And are they sort of homeschool age, or are you past that?
They're all teenagers, basically. The youngest is well, she's a tween. You know, she's kind of going on 13, 12, and then we've a guy who's 14 tomorrow. And then I've a 17 and a 19-year-old.
Wow.
So yeah, Ella will be going to college next year in NCAD, and it's a strange time, you know, but it's been a nice family time, you know. It's been a nice reflective time, I guess, you know.
It's definitely a silver lining, isn't it? Just that time to spend with the family and enjoy that.
I mean, I guess the thing with life is, you know, you either kind of begrudge what you don't have, or you're happy with what you've got. And I guess this crisis is making us realize what's more important, money or life, you know. And I think life is the obvious thing that we're trying to protect and look after. So it makes sense, you know. Definitely. It's all making sense, even though it doesn't make sense.
And tell me, like, I know obviously you would have been in the middle of a lot of planning for summer festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
When the lockdown happened, were you actually in the middle of something you were doing, or was it just sort of a planning phase?
I tour constantly, so I've kind of, you know, I have a piano theatre show which I kind of tour all the time around small theatres around Ireland. And then the summer is really my festival time. And actually this weekend, June Bank Holiday weekend, I'm supposed to be in Westport now, bringing the stage, the Jerry Fish Electric Sideshow, to a new festival, Saltwater. So from then we would have went to C Sessions, then Kaleidoscope, and you know, I guess other things in between, and then ending up with Electric Picnic. So that's my whole summer. And at Electric Picnic, we were planning Fishtown, which is a massive whole area. So, you know, I build props, I make things. So I'm keeping myself as busy physically as I would have been now in the festival, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be really tough, sort of having all of that taken away.
Yeah. And I guess, like, you know, I knew you would be calling today. It's there is no such thing. No musician in the world gets into music for financial security. You know, it doesn't exist. You know, so we're kind of risk takers anyway, I guess. And I mean, I always harp on about how song and dance are original prayer, and I think there's a spiritual side to music that we're lucky to have encountered and that we're lucky to be involved in, you know. I guess for me, surviving the music business for the last 30 years has been, it's never been really easy. You know, it's a roller coaster. You know, I guess the biggest challenge we've had in the last maybe 10, 15 years is record sales. You know, we no longer have any record sales. So Clever Jerry kind of formed a circus.
So, is that where it came from? I wanted to ask you where the idea for the Electric Sideshow came from. Is that it? A response to?
Yes, I mean, basically, I was kind of doing a follow-up record, working with at home, recording new material, and I kept going, what am I going to do with this? How do I put it out? And then, you know, I think, you know, what am I going to achieve? You know, and so I'd be running around doing arts festivals and stuff like that, and actually after a chat with David Teveen, who kind of runs the festival in I can't think at the moment, but he you know, we talked about show and theatre, and we both love Circus. I was at I was the only non-circus person at an All Ireland Circus Symposium, you know, and I just found it fascinating. I love circus, and I knew I had to create a show rather than a record, because, you know, it was the only way we could get a €10 from the punters. And that's it. And it just grew. But the community I've built is probably what I miss most, you know.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about the people that you asked to come and perform. It's such a varied load of styles. It's amazing. Like, and I love, actually, I've heard you say quite a few times that our creed is unity through diversity. And I think that's just so amazing. And obviously what the awful things that are happening in America right now, I mean, that really does say it all. But, you know, we need to try and come together in our differences. And I think what you do with that is amazing. And I wonder how did that start? How did you start working out who you were going to invite along, or was it just people you'd seen perform and loved, or?
Well, I grew up in South London, so I grew up in a very multicultural, a lot of West Indian people and people from all over the world. So I grew up with a mix and a diverse cultural group up to my early teens. So I guess I thrive there. You know, I thrive when there's a big mix. And even when I recorded the first Jerry Fish album, I was very free. I was no longer in a rock band. So I found it incredible to bring country musicians together with classical musicians, together with jazz musicians. And, you know, they never meet. They never work together, very rarely work together. So, you know, I had a nooner on there with a Cuban trumpeter, you know, and it's just a real mix, Jerry O'Byrne. So I love mixing up. I think that's I guess it comes from the variety show and entertainment. So I really love mixing that up. And I guess the one simple thing I had working was every time there was a musical act on, in between that, you would have a carnival sideshow and another show. So it's non-stop theatre. And I think so when a stage is that busy, we've no time for ego. So that's the only barrier there is to performing on my stages. If you've got an ego, take it elsewhere. You know, it's not about that. So I think when you have a mix of people, you know, it's like the bar in Star Wars. You know, it's a bit of fun. Everybody's more looking around, you know, because we're all strange at the end of the day, you know. So it was. I mean, it was great to have you guys down to hear classical music on a stage, you know, and then followed by a punk band, you know, and a mariachi band.
It was an amazing experience for us as well. And, you know, I'm so thankful that you invited us, because it was brilliant fun for us as well. You know, these festival appearances aren't going to happen this year, and it is sad. You miss sort of the mixture of people, like you say. It's such an interesting world to live in, isn't it? It's...
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, the thing. Yeah, I guess we all have to remember is that the culture of people gathering is so old. It's as old as people, so it won't go away. It will not disappear. It's vital. Whether it's demonstrations like happening in America now, people will gather. They will gather. That's what they do. And I guess we're lucky as entertainers and musicians to have them gather for a very positive reason. And I'm a bit wrecked, to be honest. I need more coffee. It's, what was I going to say? Yeah, it's incredibly strange to have no work, no gigs, no way of earning a living, I guess. So that's incredibly challenging. But I've been here before, and I think we all have, and I think even Irish history is full of that challenge, and something will happen. Something positive will happen. You have to believe it's going to be okay. It's as simple as that. And I think probably what's most worrying for people at the moment is we can't plan because we don't know what's ahead of us. There is no, I'm listening to news shows all the time, and people are kind of, you just make stuff up. You don't know, what tomorrow's going to bring. We're just doing our best and coping with a pretty desperate situation, because it is a dangerous virus.
Yeah.
We don't know individually how it affects each and every one of us. We're all, it's so random, It's not just old people.
No.
It's not just vulnerable. It's everybody.
And I think that's one thing that's coming out of it is this sense of actually working together as a human race, which is quite an amazing thing to see across the world. Obviously, some places are getting it a bit more than other places, but you see these amazing stories of generosity within community and things like that, and it does lift your spirits slightly, doesn't it? But there's still good out there.
I am absolutely completely fascinated, and it's something I would like to see in my lifetime. I don't know whether I will ever see in my lifetime, but I love to see antiquated systems crumble, and it's a moment now. I'm always harping on about how we use a QWERTY keyboard on an iPhone, but the QWERTY keyboard was designed to stop keys jamming on a typewriter. So we're very slow to change. But I think now, it's become, like you say, we're all in it together. So it's become more about life than money. Maybe billionaires, it's time for you to pay tax. You know what I mean? And life could be a lot better. We could take care of each other a lot more. And our health is our wealth. And that's
absolutely. Yeah. So Jerry, I'd love to hear about your childhood, like where you grew up and what your childhood was like and how it's influenced you as a man. A big question.
I think as you get older, you keep going. You go back to your childhood a lot, and I've kind of I actually started to create some theatre around it because my family are all from Ringsend, which is the last fishing village in Dublin. So it's all seafarer stories and dockers and sailors, and so I love the romance of that. And I grew up in South London, another old kind of dockers area, a kind of original, Dickens kind of hung around there. All the Dickens characters were based around South London. William Blake was living in Lambeth as well. And Charlie Chaplin was also from South London. So I just love, I love the storytelling, and feel very lucky to have grown up in such a colourful mix of two rivers, basically the Thames and the Liffey. So yeah, now I live in the middle of nowhere on a mountaintop, and it's given me a lot of time to really explore those characters and history. But I guess the one thing I'm very kind of proud of, it sounds kind of strange, is that I'm from poverty, you know?
Right.
I'm from poverty. And like many Irish people relate to that. And I think being from poverty gives you an empathy that you perhaps may not have had you not grown up in it, you know? I mean, I'd love to do more theatre about it, because the houses we grew up in were basically, after the Nazis had kind of bombed London in the Blitz, there was these kind of broken tooth of like buildings that survived, and they became the slums, you know, they became the ghettos. So in a way, and I remember back, I grew up in a place that's knocked down now, but they were old derelict kind of half-state, but beautiful old buildings, like tenements, I guess. And it felt like I grew up in New York in the brownstones, you know, because we had this stoop and stuff and all the Owens. It was all an Irish community on the street. So a lot of romance about the summers, and, you know, so I guess I had a happy childhood, but I was always inquisitive and always felt like I didn't belong because I was an Irish kid living in South London. And I guess when I came here to Ireland, I wasn't entertained here at all. I became an English person. So I just took to the road, really, Beth, and I'm much happier nomadic. So I guess I will miss that travel, you know. I mean, I can travel here, but, you know, it'd be nice to kind of take a boat somewhere, you know.
Do you see yourself still touring after this? Because I know a lot of musicians I've been talking to are starting to sort of question the amount of travel they were doing, and whether it is time to step back on that. Is that something you've thought about?
Not in a million years. Do you know what I mean? I'm built for the road. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you know, I watched the documentary on Ella Fitzgerald the other day. I'm a road rat. You know, I like traveling. I like meeting new people. I love the wonderful, I mean, probably the Celtic Tiger, one of the wonderful things it brought is these small theatres in all the towns in Ireland, you know. We've got these beautiful little theatres. So no, I'll keep touring till the day I die, you know, you won't be able to stop me. But I mean, I've got a caravan. I was thinking of touring that, and I've got, because I build the stages at Electric Picnic, I've got all these little stages and velvet curtains, and tonight I'm putting up festoon, and I'm going to do the garden look like a bit of a festival, just to feel a bit more. So yeah, no, I will always be traveling. I will always be traveling.
And tell me, have your kids followed in your footsteps at all? Are they performers, or? I
mean, they're beautiful kids. They all play music. Ella's going to art college now in Dublin in September. Sam, wonderful pianist. Charlie, my son's been playing guitar all since the lockdown. He just has to stay busy, so he's chosen guitar, and he's teaching himself classical guitar. You know, he's just chosen that genre, and he's gone for it. It's like, you know, whoa, would you not start with something simple, you know? But no, so it's wonderful, you know. And I have a daughter who's the youngest, Romy, is a reluctant cellist, you know, so like...
I have a reluctant cellist too.
Yeah, she's got the grumpy head, so you know she's made for the cello. You know, she's great. So, you know, yeah, they love it. You know, my wife is all, you know, we have a lot of art. We're surrounded by a lot of art, and I guess, and very beautiful. I mean, the weather's been incredible.
Yeah. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? It's gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, when it starts raining, we'll all be talking a different language, but that's Ireland, you know. I feel a lot of people stuck in their houses. You know, it's my parents. You know, it's sad.
And so you're saying about setting up a stage in the garden. Will you all perform together and have a bit of fun with that? Or?
We started that at the beginning. There was a bit of performing and party tricks, but no, we haven't. So tonight, tomorrow night will be the night. We'll have a little bit of a hula. Well, there's enough of us, you know, so we're lucky. Well, I guess it's, you know, it's really about counting your blessings. That's life. That's the key, you know. And I guess the harder times get, the more you're challenged to do that, you know, to kind of count your blessings.
Well, look, Joey, thanks so much for talking to me. It's been a real pleasure.
That works. Yeah, I hope it works for you. You know, it's great. You have a wonderful patience about you. You know, you have a wonderful aura, and you know, you exude kindness and hard work, and that's why. Yes, for me, Beth wants to do this. I'll get my hairy face out, stick a red curtain in the background, and talk to Beth. So thank you very much for calling me.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Joey.